Forward, welcome to this module. We'll be looking into data frames and handling simple cleaning and visualization with our base R and also ggplot2. So let's quickly create a data frame. Now we have a data frame here. A simple function to create data frame is data.frame, open brackets, then you define each of the columns that you want in your data frame. So we have the name, we have score, we have hours, we have track. So this is a factor. So that's why we made this vector to be embedded in this function called factor. Now we added this string as factors is equal to false so that it does not convert all our character columns into factors. So that is just why this was added there. So if you run this and you run students, you can see that we have our data frame here with our 4 columns and 5 rows. Now we can inspect our data frame using these codes. So structure of our data frame. So str is structure of our data frame because students, you would see that name is character, score is numeric, hours is numeric, track is a factor. So that is an easy way to quickly, inspect your data frame. You can also ask for a summary. So name is character, then score, you would see the basic descriptive statistic since it is numeric, and also for hours. Then track, you would see the factors and how many they are. So that is something that can come in handy. Now head, you can see head students 3. It means we just want to see the top 3 rows in our data frame. So you see that just the top 3 is being returned. Now these are also common functions and rows and call names. So this end row will return the number of rows, this will return the number of columns, and names will return the names of the columns in the data frame. So you can see we have 5 rows, we have 4 columns, and these are the names of our columns in the data frame. So these are common operations you could run on R. And you can also use your copilot, So if you comment and say structure of students and enter. So let's make it more legible. I want to know the structure of students data frame. Let's see. You can see that it's giving us the code, which is same as what we had here. So if you are not sure of the code, you can easily type it into a comment and Copilot would respond to you. So that's an easy way to integrate AI into your coding experience. So let's move along. Let's see how we can access data and also manipulate data. Now, we have students, $ bonus. So $ means you are trying to, let's say you are trying to access your data frame and you want to include an additional column. So we are trying to include an additional column called bonus. So if you run this and you run students, you see that there's an additional column called bonus with everything you listed. So now you can also create another additional column called total. Now total, we said total is student scores plus student bonus. So we have score here as 85 and bonus is this. So if you run this and run students again, you will see that total is added and it is the addition of scores and bonus. Now, next thing we can do is we can reduce the number of columns we are returning. So now we have name, we have score, hours, track, bonus, total, and that is not the order we want it to be. We want track to come after name, we want hours to come after track. So you can index this and say and put your, so for indexing we use square brackets. The first parameter is the row and the second parameter is the column. So since we don't want anything to happen to the row, we leave it blank. Then for the column, we rearrange it as we see fit. Now, if you run this and run your students, you would see that the column names are rearranged and we no longer have bonus because we removed it from the column names. So that's a simple way you can manipulate your data: mutate, delete, append. So that is the simple way of doing all of those. Now you can also subset, that is like filtering scores greater than 85. So if you run this, you would only see scores greater than 85. So you have scores here that are only greater than 85. Then you can order. So this is a way to order your data frame by the scores. So because we included a negative sign here, it would order it from the highest to the lowest. So you can see scores. We have the highest here, followed by the next one, just like that, until the lowest person. So if you don't include negative sign, it will be ordered from lowest to the highest. So those are simple operations you can, work with in R. Now, missing values. What do you do? How do you do it? How do you know if there are missing values? So let's put our student data in another variable. So if you do this, another variable is created. Same data, but it's like a duplicate so that we don't affect what is happening in students. So let's try to update some things. So in this new data set, we want scores. We want the second score and the fourth score. So that is so let's see. Let's run this. So we want this score and the fourth person to turn to any. So if we run this and check with any again, you can see that this is not any, this is an any. So any means not available. So it's just a blank data. So now let's sum the columns and put this function here, is.any with any. So we want to count how many NAs that we have in this data frame. So if we do this, you can see that scores have 2 NAs while the other the other columns do not have any. So this is an easy way to um, view your data to understand what is going on. And we can find the mean of scores. So because we know that we have NAs, we can now specify that NA.rm, so that is remove NA, is equal to true. So if you find the mean of scores, you would also get a response. But the response is calculated in such a way that the NAs are removed from the calculation. So that is an easy way to, work around NAs. So let's look at imputing mean. So we want to assign mean to our value of m. So the mean we got previously, we'll be assigning it to m. Now, in the data frame, in scores, we want all the NAs in the score column to be replaced with the mean. So if you run this and you run your variable, if you run this, let's run it from here, you would see that the NA is replaced by the mean. So the mean is this value of m, and you see it here. So these are values. M is 83.66. So you see it over here. Let's move along and look at plots. So we have base plot function in R. So we can plot our scores or any variable that you have using these codes. So we can have a bar plot, we can have histogram, and we can also have a line chart. So for the bar plot, you would see that from student scores, you want the names or the arguments to be the student names, and main is the title of your plot. Xlab is the title of your x-axis, ylab is the title of your y-axis. So if you run this, you would see your plot in this pane. So this pane is for viewing your plot, and you can zoom in, and that would show you a bigger view of your plot. And you can also export it in different formats as images, as PDFs, and also copy to clipboard. So you can see the names at the bottom here. You can see the scores on the y-axis. You have your students here, you have scores, you have your main title over here. The same goes for histogram. You can create a histogram of your scores. So specifying breaks is equal to 5. Also the main title and also the x-axis title. So if you run this, you would see your histogram distribution of your scores. Also adding a line chart. This is the code that adds the line chart for you, and also this add the lines to it, the regression lines. So if you run this, you would see our points. All right, so this PCH, it tells us what kind of points we have, so you can change it to different numbers. So if you use 16, it changed a bit, but you might not notice. So let's use something like 10. You can see that the dots change. So you can now add lines to it. That is the regression line. So that is what this LM means, linear model, the scores, and the hours. So that is your Y. and this is your X. So that is basically a simple way of, having visualizations in your chart. Okay, let's try and use ggplot. So now to install a package, we need ggplot to package install. So to install a package, just come to packages, install, and type the name of the package, ggplot2. Already have it here. Then install. So it would install that package for you. So once it is installed, you need to load the package. So how do you load the package? You use library, the library function. So library, open bracket, ggplot2. So you have to run this for you to be able to use it. So you can have packages in your R libraries, but if you don't load the package, you will not be able to use it in R. So ggplot can also be used for creating interesting visuals. So for this one now, we can run this code and you would see the bar plot that it gives us. You can see that it's a little bit different from what we have from the base chart. So depending on your preference, you could, stick with anyone. So we can also have the points in ggplot with the regression line also. So you can see that the syntax for the code is quite different from what we had here, but it is definitely the same graph. So just based on your preference, you can decide what kind of plots you want. So you can play around with these codes, ensure you integrate GitHub Copilot when you are coding. If you need anything, put it in the comment line and GitHub Copilot will suggest codes for you. So I would include some practice exercises for us to do, and you can upload them to GitHub and share those links with us. So I'll be seeing you in the next module.